Hey, this is James Pelton, and I have a video for you today. I hope you're having a good Friday, by the way. Hope you're having a great day. Some of you have been asking, I am going to get my monthly numbers out this evening, is hopefully when that video come out, and then I still need to do my journey to 10K, because I did get 1,000 likes on that video. So that's all coming, okay? I'm a busy boy. But today I had a project I wanted to bring to you, and it's GWS, which stands for Generational Wealth Society. Okay, and this is a DAO. And DAOs kind of have gotten a bad reputation because of, Olympus and time. And we had DAO season and they all kind of fell apart. But I wanted to reiterate, I don't think DAOs are a bad idea. I just think the problem with the DAOs were the APYs were too high and they weren't doing anything with the treasury, really. They weren't, generating a lot of revenue from those treasuries. So the goal of GWS, they have a lower APY. And their goal is to be a safer, more consistent, more reliable, like a generational wealth DAO is kind of the goal behind it. They're doing that through some on-chain and then through some off-chain investments as well. So the first thing is the team. Mark is who I'm having an AMA with him that I'll show you here in a little bit. He's completely doxxed, okay? He's not hiding behind anything. Again, in a lot of my AMAs, that's what you guys have been saying is, hey, we're not going to invest in someone unless we see their face. So look, right there, that's his face, okay? Good looking guy. But that's Mark. Again, he's not trying to hide anything at all. He's just, hey, here's what I'm out to do. And then some of the investments that they're doing, we'll talk about it in the AMA, but they're looking at investing in land and solar farms and miners. So they're doing a lot of cool things. So let's watch the AMA with Mark, and at the end of the video, I'll show you how you can get involved if you'd like to. All right, well, this is James Pelton, and I am here with Mark from Generational Wealth Society. Mark, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'd love to hear a little bit about your project. Would you mind just starting off by introducing yourself and then maybe like your background before this, and then what brought you to this new project?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Mark Aceto. I've been in crypto since around 2014. And back then, of course, I was just trying to trade like everybody else, and it wasn't working that well initially. And so I started taking more interest in, the technical aspect of how everything worked, blockchain and crypto related. And so, obviously I got better as a trader, but also I acquired a lot of technical knowledge, a lot more in-depth stuff that some people don't really grasp that easily. And so it just kind of came naturally for me, kind of like math class in high school. And so, over the course of my time in this space from 2014 until now, I've kind of been through every little portion of DeFi that's blossomed. You know what I mean? From first when everybody started using Uniswap and buying farm tokens and getting over diluted and all that fun stuff, all the way up until now where we have like reflections type stuff and even more interesting things like that. So, I've just been in the space for a little bit and picked up a fair amount, but been kind of in the shadows also, just kind of being taking everything one step at a time.
Yeah, just kind of watching and seeing how the industry goes. Yeah, we've seen a ton of evolution in the space, so it's cool just all the new stuff starting up. So could you kind of maybe just kind of sum up what Generational Wealth Society is, kind of the vision when you started it, and then how it works?
Absolutely. So GWS is first and foremost a DAO. We didn't want one primary owner, or we didn't want one person in charge. We kind of wanted it to be a collective. Everything is decided collectively as DAOs are designed to operate. And so with that being obviously our primary goal, everything else was kind of designed to be a multi-phased project so that we could utilize small portions of the best parts of DeFi to realize our ultimate goal, which is to develop, launch, and maintain our own blockchain that's kind of unique from other layer ones that currently exist in the space, primarily by having the founding team develop an application suite with all of the best performing applications across the space, for example, Aave, MakerDAO, and some other things like synthetics for synthetic trading and other applications, and kind of unite them all in one suite and allow for the utilization of our GWS token. Now token, it'll be coin when you swap over to the chain, and kind of like allow people to have all of these different outlets to utilize their coin with, instead of having to buy one specific token to use one specific platform. You can kind of run through and pick what you want to do all with the same coin. And so that's the ultimate goal, the end goal. But of course, in between, we have phase one, which is primarily for creating a supply and building a treasury that is then used to build revenue streams to fund the chain in the future.
Okay, so basically, so you have two phases. So you kind of have an end goal, and then you kind of have like the fundraising portion, you might call it. And I really like that, because what happens with a lot of projects is they start with the DAO or the node or whatever, but then they don't have a phase two plan, and kind of the DAO or the node is kind of like their end goal. So I like that you're being really upfront about, hey, this is a fundraiser basically to get us to our own chain. I think that's really cool. So people are used to like Olympus DAO and Time Wonderland and things like that. How do you compare to those projects? Are you built pretty much the same way? Are you a fork of those, or how do you compare to those?
So code-wise, technically, you would say we are an Ohm fork. However, we are maintaining our implementation of a lower. So I know that Ohm's staking APY is low now, but it hasn't always been. And, all the other forks, Ohm forks, also have massively inflated staking APY. And so one of our goals is to actually keep our staking rewards and our bond rates more sustainable, so that we do not over dilute in a very short period of time, because we do have supply goals, a supply target for our estimation of time, which is 12 to 18 months to get the chain funded and built. And so we don't want to blow past our goal, but we also don't want to undershoot. And so it's a very delicate balance of sustainability and dilution, which is why we went with some burn rates on selling, because that helps obviously combat overinflation. But also, it allows us to kind of throttle if we want to do an event and say, oh, staking APY has doubled for 1 week due to this event. Anybody that stakes can potentially get a reward. To kind of have like an event. It gives us the opportunity and the ability to do that, because we're also actively combating inflation when people sell.
Okay, very cool. So just for people, if you're not familiar with Olympus and Olympus forks, then maybe go read up on that. I don't want to go into a whole thing about that with my audience. That's a kind of its own, but it's its own type of project basically. And it uses bonds to kind of create a treasury, and then people can buy tokens and stake them, and you get an APY. And I think your APY is like 900% or so, 941%.
It's been fluctuating between like 900% to like 2,500. It all depends on how many users are staked and the total amount of the supply that's staked versus unstaked. So kind of it's like a check and balance.
Sure. Okay. So and then as we've seen with like Olympus, you just mentioned with Olympus and Time, and some of these were offering like Olympus was 40,000% APY, and Time Wonderland I think at some point was up to like 600,000%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The 6 digit.
Yep, 6 digit.
Yeah.
And so what we saw with that was just too much inflation, where people had so many tokens, and then when they wanted to sell, it went down.
Yeah.
So
you down to the bottom.
Yep. So you have a lower rate there. So hopefully that won't happen. And you're using it just as a fundraiser to get to your chain. So okay.
Absolutely. And we do have, so when we take in DAI from bonding, we actually have what are called landmarks, and they represent total values of bonded funds that we've gained over time. And as we hit landmarks, we have different preset allocations for the funding that we get. And so each time we hit one of these landmarks, we start, once we get past 1 million, which I think we've hit 250,000 so far, and we're on our way to 500,000. Once we hit 1 million, we start making revenue stream allocations. So those are going to be both real world and in DeFi, whether that's a stable deposit that yields 10% APR, or whether we go and buy land and lease it out to solar companies and get paid a premium for them to use the land for solar capabilities. And that's just one thing that we've looked into. But the primary goal is to split up our revenue streams into both real world and DeFi, so that in the event that the DeFi market slows down, crypto market slows down, we still have funding coming in from outside sources that aren't reliant on crypto or DeFi in any way.
Okay, very cool. So you're kind of try to diversify out of DeFi. That makes a lot of sense. Can you talk a little bit more about what treasury investments that you're doing, what you're doing with the treasury? I think that's a big question people usually have. You kind of mentioned DeFi and real world, but can you maybe be a little bit more specific?
So we actually haven't made any allocations yet because we've only hit our first landmark. Once we hit 1 million, we do have a real world allocation that we are looking into. My proposal is purchase land to rent solar farms, as I had mentioned earlier. But we do have multiple other options. One's a mining facility. One is our own solar farm. One is looking into hydropower where I am, which is actually pretty interesting. So we're kind of trying to we're not trying to go crazy with like things that take a very long time to implement. You know what I mean? We kind of need a shorter turnaround for the real world allocations that we make, because the sooner that we start taking in profit from them, the sooner that it comes back into the treasury. And then with a large portion of that, we actually just take it and add it straight to liquidity to kind of make the pool larger and enable people to take profit over time without the price trending downward.
A big question that people often have, and I was thinking about skipping it, but maybe I'd like to just hear your philosophy on it.
Let's hear them all.
Yeah. So people with like a lot of doubt, I have so many people that come on just anonymously and no docs and no KYC sometimes even. Do you want to just talk about why you are so transparent and like why you've been so open and your name's there and your LinkedIn's there? You just want to talk a little bit about your philosophy behind that?
I mean, I feel like it's, if you're trying to do something real, you know, in the space that you want to last for a while, inevitably your identity is going to need to come out, you know, and so why not be forthcoming about it and start out of the gate public. I don't, you know, I've never had an issue with sharing who I am or where I am or what I do, or it's just something that I felt is always very important. You know, like when I look at projects, one of the things that I look at are who are the people, where are they from, you know, are they public or not? And I mean, that in itself is kind of an indicator of some of what their intentions could be, just if they're not public, you know? And so I always felt that it was something fairly important. And I relayed that to the original council members. And that's why four of us, I believe, are publicly doxxed. And so, you know, they all agreed with me. And I just feel like it's fairly important for a team to be public,
Okay.
especially if we're doing things in the real world where, you know, if I am making available banking information for public people to see, or anything that's going to be transparent, you know, inevitably my name's going to be on there, or somebody needs to know that I'm the person doing what I say that I'm doing. And so it just makes everything a lot easier.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. It's a lot nicer investing in something when you've talked with the person that you're investing with. So I appreciate that. So for people who've watched and they're like, oh yes, I want to get involved with this. I want to be a part of this vision and this chain. For you, what's the best way for people to get involved? Is it just buying the token and going and staking, redeeming, or bonding? Or what would you like to see people do to get involved?
So one more long-term option would be obviously just buying the token on Uniswap and staking. You can get there's three rebases a day. And so, you know, you get rewards 3 times a day. They're percentage based. You can see all of that on our website. And if you want something more long term and you just want to be able to kind of buy and stake and not have to worry about it for a little while, that would be your option. But if you want to kind of be more active and monitor what's happening, you can certainly bond. Like you mentioned earlier, James, the bond discounts are fairly large right now. So, you know, if you look into us and you are confident that your bond rate is going to be good 6 days from now still, you could bond. You get a good percent discount, and it's vested over 6 days, and they unlock linearly. So you can literally go on and claim 25 times a day if you want to. Obviously, you wouldn't because of gas prices, real life and on blockchain.
Yes.
But you can also do that. So that would be a slightly more risky play, just because price fluctuation can affect your bond rate. That's wrong. Price fluctuation can affect the token value, which will affect the value of the tokens that you bonded that you get over time. Your bond rate's locked in from the beginning. So when you first bond, that price is always the same. And so you can stake, you can bond, or if you do either of those and you feel like you can somehow contribute to what we're trying to do, or you have some ideas that you think would be effective, we are more than willing to listen to you if you reach out to us. Because we are a DAO, we try to take everybody's opinion into consideration. We have a group for some individuals that have a larger amount of tokens to kind of collaborate and work together. And so we are more than happy to, talk to you, and if you can provide something that's beneficial for everybody, we're happy to bring you on and involve you also. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate your transparency and just appreciate what you're doing. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I can tell you, so we did have, we submitted some collaborations to our developers to review, and pending a meeting, of course, but we have looked into some other concepts that we're looking to add onto our platform. So one of them is a collaboration with Chainlink, just to use their randomizer in our code, so we can have a little lottery that goes on once a week with a percentage of the lottery pool burned, just kind of as another, little way to combat inflation. We are looking into collateralization for GWS, and that would be provided by the treasury. So what you would do is you'd be able to deposit a set amount of GWS, and then you'd be able to pull out a percentage, most likely in DAI or USDC, just like any other collateralization protocol. And then you pay it back to get your GWS back. And so those would be limited sized pools, initially, at least. And then we are also looking into providing bonding as a service. And so how that would work is, another project would reach out to us and say, hey, we're looking to, build $500,000 and put $500,000 into our treasury. And we don't have a bond system set up, but we really like how it works. Can we work with you guys and do it on your platform? So what we're looking into doing is offering that service with a charge of GWS tokens initially, and those will get burned. So for anybody to make a bond through our bond as a service, you have to burn GWS tokens, another way to combat inflation. And then for the operating services and for us to run it, we would charge them between 5 to 10% of their overall bond rate, and that would come into the treasury to benefit us for providing the service to them. And so there are multiple things that we're looking into to kind of increase the utility of GWS tokens until we move on to our own chain, because obviously that's where all of our utility is really targeted for with the application suite. And so we're trying to expand our view beforehand to kind of give people other opportunities.
Very cool. Well, yeah, it sounds like your team's active and is proactive. So that's always good to see. So, well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. I have a pretty good feel for what you guys are about, and so I think this will be great for the audience. I think you did a good job of being concise and on point. Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate you hopping on and talking through your project. And I wish you the best. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I'm happy to retweet stuff and get as much exposure as we can to what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you, James. I appreciate you having me on.
Yep, no problem, Mark. You have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right, so thanks for watching that AMA with Mark. Good guy. Again, I develop bonds with pretty much everyone I do an AMA with, and then it's just like, man, I want you to succeed. I want to get eyes on your project. I think that's been their biggest hurdle so far, is just getting eyes on the project. I think people are scared by DAOs, but there's really no reason to be. It's just a fundraiser to go do something else. So if you'd like to get involved, the easiest way is you can just buy some GWS tokens, okay? So it's on Ethereum, so there are a little bit higher fees, but fees really are not that bad, okay? Like we got scared because they used to be really high, but Ethereum fees have been fairly low now. So you're gonna just go, so you just click this button for buy GWS, it'll take you right to Uniswap, and you'll have to allow it to use whatever you're gonna trade for, so maybe Ethereum or whatever you have in your wallet, and then you're gonna swap for GWS. Now, if you do that, make sure that you stake it, okay? Because staking is how you get this 1,000% APY, which is actually 0.2246 every few hours. I think maybe 8 hours, so maybe that's 3 times a day. So this is your 5% ROI. Another thing that you can do is you can check if there are bonds, okay? So bonds are how actually they fill their treasury. And so what you can usually do is you can come in and there'll be a discount for buying a bond. So you want to check. These are algorithmically set, but like right now the bond discount is negative, so you would definitely not want to bond. So you would not want to bond right now, but you can check bonds and see if there's any discounts. And how that usually works is if there's a discount, you can bond at the current price with a discount, and then it vests for 5 days, and then you can get your GWS tokens after 5 days for that discounted price. So a lot of times the bond discounts, I think I got mine at 30% or something like that. So you can make a 30% return in 5 days if you check the bond discounts. So that would be one way to get in, is look for bonds. Again, another thing is just to go purchase GWS. And maybe you want a dollar cost average in. Again, like if your end goal is, hey, I want to have $2,000 in the Generational Wealth Society, maybe you buy $500 a week for 4 weeks or something like that. And then don't forget to stake it once you get it. And then when you're ready to sell, you can unstake. Don't forget to take some profits. So like I think it's 8-hour rebase for this one. But each 8 hours, I'm getting a 0.1519 on my 67 GWS that I have in there. So just make sure you're getting your profit out. So all in all, thank you to the Generational Wealth Society team. Thank you to Mark. I had a really good time getting to know you, and I do wish the best on your project. So thank you, everyone. Again, my monthly numbers should be out this evening, Lord willing. But yeah, everyone have a great rest of your day.